Live, hosted by David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker. Brought to you by First Bank of Shelbyville. And Kincaid Service Company. Let's talk some sports. Here are your hosts, David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker.
Good morning. Welcome to Bedford County Sports Talk Live. I'm David. This is Bill, Kenny, Jason. Same crew as last week. We're here to talk some county sports, jump into some college basketball, probably more than likely. We'll go that direction. And then pro football.
There's a big game.
Down.
There's a big game tomorrow. Some kind of bowl.
Well, let's say it's supposed to be super, but I don't know about that.
I know.
Let's see how good it is.
We want to thank our sponsors this morning, First Bank here in Shelbyville and
Kincaid
Service Company
right here on Madison Street in Shelbyville, where service is their middle name. Let's pause for a moment, hear from them, and we'll be right back.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
All righty, welcome back in here to Bedford County Sports Talk Live. We've got two of our all-time favorite fans here, Mr. Scott Spray and Miss Helen Raby. Good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Helen's got her a new TV. She watches the show.
Oh, really?
Oh, is
Big screen.
A
She
big
didn't
screen.
tell me that yesterday.
She does.
Well, thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for everybody that tunes in. And please comment if you have any scores that maybe we don't announce or any other type of announcements that we're missing on that we want to
David,
get word out. Yes,
Before
sir.
we go further,
Yes, sir.
last year we had him on the show. Brad McTeague
Yes.
passed away
Yes.
last week. Buried him yesterday.
Yeah.
So just going
Long-time figure in Bedford County sports.
Long-time figure in Bedford County
And Middle
sports.
Tennessee, as
Middle
far as they go.
Tennessee, that's right.
Teacher and referee both, right?
Right.
Teacher and referee both.
All right. So prayers to his family
Yes.
and all his friends. Bill, I know you got some scores you probably want to go over for high school.
Tuesday night, Warren County came in here and Coach Turnham came back and lost to the Golden Eaglets again, 63-49. The Eaglets beat Warren County. And the Shelbyville boys
Big win.
pulled off the upset of the year,
Yeah,
kind of.
they did.
Warren County hadn't lost a region game. Shelbyville beat them 57-55.
Hey, I was at that game watching it, and you know what interested me the most? I shared this with you this morning. The guy that was doing the radio for Shelbyville never sat down. He does it standing. How do you do that?
How does that work?
Standing.
Well, I'm so short I can't see over that box there. It's a little tall, so I have to stand up to see. Plus, I can see better up there anyway. I like moving around, and
There you go. Well,
I get kind of excited, so I can't really sit still.
I'm sure you do a good job.
I
We hear a
appreciate
lot of
you.
good compliments.
Thank you.
All right.
It's
So
a great game to call.
So the boys won.
And we're
And
down, what, 14, 12,
Yeah, we
14
got
at
down
one
in
point,
the second
came back.
half, came back.
as far as district records go, they're 5 after last night, they're 5-3.
Right.
And Warren County 6-1.
Right.
I don't know what they did last night, but
And the other
they're
big
in second
upset
place,
we'll just
basically.
mention, though, was Columbia beat Coffee County Tuesday night in boys, which was a huge upset.
Really?
It was only their third win of the year,
Yeah.
which jumbles the district
Yeah.
up quite a bit here.
Yeah.
And last night, Shovel Girls lost Lincoln County 66-42, and the Lincoln County boys beat our boys 62-57 by 5. The district tournament's in Shelbyville. It'll be interesting to see how this shapes out with it being here. And
The boys have a chance.
They'll have a shot.
They have a chance at home. Play a lot better at home.
well, that's what I was about to ask you, Jason. They do seem to
They
play
do
better
seem to play
here.
a lot better at home.
Okay.
You always play better at home.
Yeah, because you're shooting on that
Yeah,
goal in
shooting on
practice,
that
and the
goal.
environment's the same.
well, now
the
you've beaten
background's
everybody in the
same.
region. I mean, we've beaten Lincoln County once. We beat Warren once. We've beaten Coffee.
The
So,
boys' race is way more wide open than the girls.
yeah, I mean, Coffee County
County
guys,
girls.
they may win the state.
Yeah,
And the
Yeah,
Lincoln County girls are pretty doggone good, too.
Lincoln County
Yeah, they
girls
are.
are a good second. They are.
Yeah. And have been for quite a while. Cascade and Eagleville Tuesday night. Cascade girls won 44-40. Cascade boys lost to Eagleville 76-50, but girls, Eagleville may be one of the best basketball teams.
Eagles rated the number one team in the
State.
state.
They're tough. Eagleville's really good.
Yeah, they're good.
And the boys, they're
And the
number one.
boys, yes.
Wow.
That's the team Robbie said that they could have named the score on him.
Wow.
Could have scored 100 if they wanted to.
Wow.
Cascade and Forest 49-44 last night. The Cascade
No.
girls won.
I just got this from the coach from Cascade Girls. They won 49-45. I think we was going to mention that. You told us Sophie Ray got her 1,000th point last night. She said it's the first time any girl from Cascade's done that since 2013.
Wow.
And she's close to her 500th rebound. She's within striking distance of her 500th rebound.
That's great.
And
I wonder if anyone's ever had 1,000 and 500. Both.
you don't ever hear much about the rebounds. You hear about the scores, but you don't hear about the rebound.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Sophie had 12. Lizzie Keel had 13. The Parker girl, Carolyn Parker, had 13. So
Should have kid to you?
No, that's Kenneth Parker.
All right, different Parker.
I know.
Totally different set of Parkers.
Go ahead and get through it. Something came to my mind.
Said they shot 55% from the field and 71% from the free throw line.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Final district game Tuesday night. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Against Community at Cascade. Again, this is the Coaching for the Cure.
Right.
And Cascade at halftime of the girls' game, she says, they're going to honor their middle school, their elementary school basketball teams, and anybody in the school. Shovel did this the other night that scored over 21 on the ACT.
Well, that's good.
So you get a chance to come out and support Coaches for the Cure. That's help with the cancer. So congratulations, Sophie, and the rest.
You were asking if somebody had ever done 1,000 and 500. Angela Moorhead
That was
did
3,000
and like 1,200 rebounds.
1,200 rebounds.
And Misty Lamb also did it.
Yeah.
Back
I'm thinking
in that,
Cascade, though, girls.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure if they go back in,
That's
I
a big
know
feat.
we had Anita Buckingham a few years ago that could really. We've had
some good women's
basketball
here.
players.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got, Bill?
Cascade boys 64-54. They beat Forest. And then let's look at Community. And Cannon County beat the Community girls Tuesday night 42-40. Coach Davis and the boys lose to Cannon County 75-58. And then last night, Community girls lost 53-44. And the Community lost at Grundy County, the boys, by 3. So Coach Davis came really close to Grundy County 68-65.
And we're talking earlier about districts are getting close to, I think next week may be the last week of district play. Mm-hmm. And then we roll into tournaments. Chevrolet is hosting their district, and Cascade and Community both will go to Grundy County.
That's not a pleasant trip.
No, that's a long drive.
Not a pleasant trip. Couldn't get a score on the FRA Webb girls or the Webb girls against Providence Christian, but we got boys scores. The Webb boys beat FRA 52-43, and the Webb boys lost for the second time this year to Providence Christian 66-52. So it looks like Webb's going to come in second in that region.
Yeah, let's talk about the missing scores. We were having this conversation. Kenny, you made a comment that anybody can post these scores.
I'm pretty sure anybody can. And when we say post the scores, we're talking about on Coach T.
Coach T, right.
That's where we get the majority of our scores.
And there's an app called Score Stream. You can also do it on. You have to sign up for it, but a lot of times the scores are wrong there. But on Coach T, there's a lot of scores that are missing. Mm-hmm. We see it all the time. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there and you listen to the game, if you listen to Jason on the game, you hear the score.
We're fortunate we've got Jason because we was looking for the.
He just hit Max Preps up and got it. Wasn't it Max Preps where we got the show boy score?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's a good source as well. So if you're used to watching Coach T and looking for scores, there's a lot of missing scores. So just remember that we can report them. So.
Well, Community Cascade, that'll be fun Tuesday.
The Battle of Bedford.
There you go. The Battle of Bedford.
Well,
Coach Davis is coming on here in a minute.
I was
Start looking.
There was something they were throwing shirts out the other night at Community because they had the Coaching for the Cure at Community the same night that Cascade and Community played there, and somebody had sponsored some shirts, and both sides were throwing it out, and the writing on it says something like
The Battle of Bedford.
Battle of Bedford.
Why are you afraid to say it,
Yeah,
Kenny?
might
You
as well.
like hesitant. That's what it is. Man.
Because
It's about-
I don't want Leon Davis getting on to me.
Oh, do you not?
Hey, don't worry about Robbie, it's
I
Leon.
ain't worried about Robbie. It's Daddy Leon getting in.
But we've called it that for a long time.
Forever.
So,
forever.
you know.
Call it what?
The Battle of the
Battle-
BLB.
The Battle of the
Battle of
BB.
Bedford.
That's
Battle
right.
of Bedford. All right, so I know we got some wrestling going on with Shovel Central.
Wrestling, I think I'm not sure where they're at today, but do you know where they're at?
The Shovel is at Cleveland.
Cleveland. So
And I'm not sure where Cascade. Everybody in the state. This is individual. They had the state championships last week. They call that the duels.
Right.
you advance here, you go to the sectionals. Is that right?
You advance from the regional sectional, and you advance from the sectional. You go to the state.
And I think they have 2 or 3 that could advance.
Yeah, I'm sure we do. I think Shovel's got a girl that's pretty good, but they got to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland won the state wrestling for the 8th time in a row.
Wow.
And the girls won the state this year also.
Yeah.
But yeah, both of them, all wrestling in the state is at dual. Is at region. And
So maybe we'll have some updates next week. Then.
Yeah, we should have.
And we got baseball coming up here real soon.
Yeah.
what
are our
I just got an
teams?
email
Okay.
here that said Cascade is playing at Tullahoma today.
Tullahoma's got a
Basketball?
good wrestling program too.
Or wrestling.
Wrestling.
It just says
Have to be
Cascade is at Tullahoma today. It must be
It's be
wrestling.
wrestling.
Blues
gotta be
wrestling.
wrestling.
Tullahoma's
It's
got
gotta
a
be
good
wrestling.
wrestling program too.
Yeah, Tullahoma
Really
team
good.
wound up fourth
in the state.
Yeah.
Let's talk about baseball just for a second. It's here.
Yeah.
These kids are going to start playing soon. What are y'all hearing as far as our teams this year still on the upswing? I know Shovel Central's got some talent.
I hadn't
definitely.
heard. Yeah. I know you say it's on up. I've been scheduled a middle school game Tuesday next week, and next weekend we've got play days, middle school play day here at Hintergarten this coming Saturday, and high school next coming Saturday. So it's right on us.
I was talking to a middle school parent this week that has baseball, and she just made a statement. We're going to go out there, and some of these games we're going to be sitting in 30-degree, 20-degree weather, possibly snow. And, let me ask y'all: do y'all think we're starting it too soon for these kids?
I think we do middle school.
I do too.
Yeah, because
I
they
think
start
middle
before high school.
The middle school starts way before high school.
What's the point of that? To get through early? Is that what it is?
I don't know why the middle school start so early. Their basketball season's usually over before Christmas.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And I'm not sure if it's the testing. It's probably got a whole lot to do with that, because they're putting a whole lot of emphasis on test scores, and they
Could have something to do with the umpires too. Could have something to do with not
that's
overlapping
true.
with
Yeah.
high school.
what you're talking about that is correct.
Yeah.
But what they're wanting to do with girls middle school softball and possibly even middle school baseball is move it to a fall sport and have the middle school baseball and softball in the fall.
So you would start your school year out playing baseball, basically,
and softball.
Okay.
Which would
But
make it hard to play
that's
football and
not-
baseball. wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Do what now?
Make it really hard to play football and baseball.
To be a dual
It would make
middle
it tough.
school, not high school.
That's
middle
fine, but
school.
still, I don't
You still
care.
have some that
You're
would
still
wanna
going to
play.
have some.
Middle school, you're not really old enough to decide which one you're good at or which one you
Right.
want to play.
Yeah,
I don't like that idea.
You do that, you're going to have there's going to be a team or two out there that's not going to have enough field teams
Right.
on the smaller schools.
And that's I think something that they'll take into consideration. I know I heard that the state unanimously voted down the one-time transfer rule.
They're going to let the
Because we know
legislature's
exactly
gonna
what
do
they're
it.
going to do.
Yeah.
The legislature's going to do it. I talked to somebody on the board.
Yeah.
They intentionally did this knowing
Right.
the legislature in April is going to push it
But
through.
if there's any
Really?
problems,
So
they
it's
can
going to
blame it on
happen.
them.
And then they can say, Kenny, I didn't do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's the old politician switcheroo.
Yeah.
State did it. State did it. State did it. I didn't do it.
that.
State
We
did
didn't
it.
have
State's
anything to do
fault.
with it.
Now, when
Why would the legislature get involved in something like this?
when does the state have time to get involved with athletics?
Good
Oh,
question.
they can squeeze
And,
it in there.
and they're
do it.
wanting the NCAA
Federal
for
government,
the
same way.
Same way.
Exactly. But let's don't go down that path.
No.
Let's talk about just the sports
Yeah,
side
let's
of
talk about
this.
sports
Let's
stuff.
talk about
Well-
how this is going to impact what changes will come about when the legislature does
I still
pass
think, and we said it wasn't going to affect us here. I could see how it might,
Well, sure it will.
especially with Community and Cascade.
Sure
I
it
think
will.
you will see it happen there. Maybe not so much at Central, and then maybe it does happen with Central.
Sure it will. Sure
Maybe
it will.
little Johnny isn't playing over here, and little Johnny got a little upset at the coach. So let's go over here and
going to
play.
happen. It's going to happen all the way around. There may
Yeah.
be a player that wants to go to Central. There may be players at Central that want to go to the other schools. Yeah.
Well, let's just throw
most
this
definitely
scenario
gonna
out.
happen.
Let's just say there's a kid playing right now at Riverdale, and he decides, Mom, I want to play, or Dad, I want to play football in Shelbyville. Can he just do that and cross the county line every day?
No, he'll have to pay. He'll have to pay because he's crossing the county line. There's a
tuition
fee
fee of some sort.
if you're out of county.
Okay,
There,
but he still
unless
can
you
do
have
it.
unless you have a parent teaching in the education
Right.
for BCS.
Or unless, I mean, I'm just saying they keep their job there. They don't change anything.
You could just change
They
your
just
address
drive
and
back
move
up.
here.
Well, they can do that anyway.
Right.
And we have them doing. I mean that happens anyway.
Okay,
But they have
set a
they have
year
to
out.
sit out it if they had a athletic background the last year. Say for example, a kid's at, we're just going to use where you were at Riverdale, and didn't play as a freshman at all, and says, "Hey, I want to go to Shelbyville."
Didn't play or wasn't on a team.
Didn't play.
Okay.
Didn't play. Didn't get into an athletic event.
Okay.
Didn't have an athletic record because that means he didn't participate.
Right.
And I want to go to Shelbyville. Well, because he don't have an athletic record,
Automatic.
he's
transfer.
automatic.
Right now.
Now, let's just say he played football, played the first game. Something happened, got whatever, and didn't play anything after that. Now he goes to Shelbyville.
A year.
He has to sit out one
Right.
calendar year, 1 day. Say that was August the 3rd. So come August the 4th of the next year, he's eligible at Shelbyville.
But this one-time transfer rule
This
will
one
negate
time,
that.
Right.
Yeah, then
It's
that's
just no questions
In
asked.
Rutherford
It's
County,
no-
it's really going to be bad because
Yeah,
you're going to have
it is.
people going from Oakland to Riverdale to Blackman.
after they've already established.
Right.
They do that. They have an open door policy in Rutherford County. I mean, and here's the thing. We talked about Eagleville being so good.
Mhm.
Eagleville can get a kid from any school in Rutherford County can transfer
down.
into Eagleville.
Is it
But-
because of classification or
I don't know that, but that anybody, if you're a third teamer on,
Yep.
or whatever, and you want to go to Eagleville, no questions, you go, and I think you're eligible.
That's
Wow.
how
But
they
it-
have
I was
athletes.
gonna
up
say
there.
that's the reason why they're
yeah,
doing it.
that's
Yeah.
So different counties are doing different things then, based on what you're saying.
basically some
So
counties.
TSSAA doesn't apply.
Yeah, oh yeah,
It applies, but
apply,
when the state passes this, though, it's going to take all these rules
Well, what does the
out.
TSSAA say about it? If we can't do it here, but they can do it in Rutherford County, how does that work?
Well, Kenny's just saying one school can do it. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
do it from Riverdale to Oakland.
and here's another thing.
But I
Yeah,
think
but
it's
how does
stepping
that
down in
work?
classification
Yeah,
is somehow
I
they
don't-
justify.
I don't-
That
it.
sounds
I don't-
like an
that don't-
exception
that
to the
don't
rule.
have anything to stepping down to. There may be something in there, and I know
Was there a
if-
magnet school tied to Eagleville somehow or something like that?
there could very well be. I'm not sure, but if a school offers a class that's not offered,
Right.
Yeah, that could
Hey,
be.
that could be
that
it.
issue,
they
yeah.
they can take it in there and go, well, hey, I want
Do
to take tattooing.
Okay.
Or
all right.
whatever. I mean, I
Or
just
a
brought
college
that-
course isn't offered like some of them.
something. Yeah, they can go in and we don't offer German
Okay.
or whatever, but you got to make sure when they go in, that student is enrolled in German that next year.
Right.
Now after that, they're already
That'd be a
in.
nice way to kind of loop the system there. And
Mhm.
And one could view it that way.
All right, let's talk about something else. Bill and I, you and I have been talking about this week, and we've had this conversation before, I'm sure, somewhere down the line. But you got a lot of football players right now that have finished their career in high school, and they're very talented, but they're not getting offers. They're not getting brought in to a college program like they used to. Has this NIL and the transfer portal affected the high school seniors.
Yes.
Yes, most
Okay.
definitely.
But what troubles me, and I'm a little bit surprised, is it's the smaller schools where it's really getting more so than the bigger ones.
Well, here's the thing. I think NCAA done away with walk-on stuff. I don't think you've got to walk on like you used
Well,
to.
how
be
do they
able
do
to.
all
Well,
these
it's a
preferred
number.
walk-ons?
You can do the walk-on, but you can't reach a certain number that you
Well,
can't
the
get to. And that's counting everybody.
NCAA, I know
Now you have to be a preferred
SEC
walk-on or whatever.
at the SEC level, they can only have this next year, football-wise, 105.
So 115 or 105. That was
A
walk-ons and
number.
everything.
That's
Yeah.
everybody. That's total.
Guys, Middle Tennessee's got some good football players that are capable of going to SEC schools. And I only look up and see a handful of them that have signed with SEC
Not just
or a
SEC
major
schools.
college.
What about the mid-level OVC
Yes.
schools?
And
Where are they at?
And they're not going there because they're all going this NIL and transfer, and they're getting
It's almost like they're having to prove themselves somewhere else first,
Right.
before
exactly.
they can get there.
Yeah, exactly. Then they transfer
Yeah.
because the transfer is so
Yeah.
wide open.
And-
it's like a feeder program.
Loyalty's out the window now.
Exactly.
And what happens here in Tennessee is we don't have it like some of the other states. We don't have junior college.
Yeah.
No
sports.
football.
No
Yeah.
football in junior college.
Yeah.
Well, you got places like Sewanee, Cumberland, UT Chattanooga, Austin P, Tusculum, where Micah Threet went, East Tennessee State. You got some of these.
East Tennessee's full of those little colleges.
Right.
There's not so many in the middle
Well,
or
when you-
west.
when
The
you
West
go-
Tennessee schools have
and
gotten
here
out
Your
of
own
it.
state still have a
Here-
football program.
I don't know. I don't think
I
so.
don't think
But
so.
here's when you get into some of those private colleges like that, the tuition
Yes.
is
Exactly.
So if
All
it's
right, so-
$70,000 a year
We'll
and
give
you're
you half.
right, it's half. You
You
still
still
got
gotta
to
come
come
up
up
with a
$35,000.
chunk of
and that's
change.
what you could go to
Okay.
middle for.
Well, absolutely, the whole 4 years.
Okay, as these kids start getting into that situation in certain areas of the country, like where we're at right now, and they don't go to play college athletics, at what point do we start seeing a shortage of football players coming out
I don't know.
as seniors?
You don't.
What about the quality? Because I know
don't.
there's some kids out there that's going to get bypassed that could contribute to a team,
Yeah, but
and they're gone.
They don't play high school ball to try to get to college. There's so much difference between college athletics and
Oh, I
high
understand
school
that, Kenny,
athletics.
but there are people right now that are getting overlooked. And it's just
It's
like
all-
the Dobbs kid from Fayetteville.
Yeah, I
He's
was
got
gonna
a
mention
look
him.
from nobody.
Nobody but NAI Division III. The Dodge.
Hey, I
kid.
mean,
The big running
Yeah, the
back.
big running back.
and
Nobody.
I'm like thinking, okay, this kid could play OVC. He could play at Austin P. He could play at Middle. He could play at some of these schools. Yet he ain't even getting looked at.
Yeah.
That don't make sense to me.
No.
Not me either.
and
Okay.
I'll say this for some of that might be that the schools have been burnt with it because they get into a kid and the kid gets there and then he goes,
Okay.
No,
so
Well,
that-
go back to the
that-
playoffs this year.
okay.
We played Hillsborough, right?
Right.
Beat them, 44-10, 44-7 in the playoffs, right?
Right.
You know how many Division I kids they got going Division
Five.
I? 5. Hillsborough's got 5 kids going D1. You know how many we got? Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who didn't play this year?
Right. All right. So you got. I think the programs have a lot to do with it too. But what you said, Kenny, it should be about the kids, not about the colleges and their money. It should be about the kids. There should be opportunities somewhere for some of these kids to do that. You said it right. They don't play high school football to go to college and play football. I don't know. Some of them probably do. I mean, I look at some of them over the years and said that's
Well, they
his
say
only hope.
The importance
It's
is going to
only hope.
camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of these kids
Okay.
we're thinking about went to camps.
Yeah, there's
They went to camps.
there's several guys on Shovel that should be playing college.
Yes, there
football.
are.
Absolutely, they are.
And the kid at Lincoln County and all the
Yeah,
whole area.
and
The
I
whole
don't,
area is that
I
way.
don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that we don't have kids that can play. But I think that's where
But
you
back to the
see a
junior
lot
college
of-
thing, and y'all know I was real tight with the AD that used to be at Montlow. And his issue was back when I was at Montlow, there was people I went to high school with, people I knew that played on the Montlow baseball team. Go over there now and find anybody on Montlow that's even from around here. They intentionally, for whatever reason, go out of state. And like he told me, it put us in a bind because we bypassed all these local kids.
They probably
Now
get
we
more
gotta-
funding.
But now we've got to find housing for
Now
them.
you got to find a place for them to
And they
live.
put them in those apartment complexes they've got over there. And he
Hey.
said that creates its own problem.
What about out of state tuition?
They
Is there
have to
something
pay
to
it.
do with that?
Yeah, no, they have to pay it.
Okay. So
when a kid comes in, when they bring a kid in out of state on a scholarship,
Right.
they still have to pay the out of state.
Right. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's a financial thing.
It probably goes back to money.
Yeah, it's all guaranteed.
you
Everything
His
we're
point
talking
was,
about
his
right
point
now.
was, how's it benefit Motlow to do this? Because
Yeah, exactly. Everything we're talking about right now has to do with money.
Always goes back.
That's always money.
And it's unfortunate the kids, there's some of them missing some opportunities.
But he was telling me that there is a rule or a law in the state of Tennessee that junior colleges cannot play football. I didn't know that till he told me. So there's
really?
a law
Okay.
that you can't play football as a junior college.
Well, we need to get the same people that's going to vote on this one-time transfer.
To change
Where it would be
that.
neat if we had football like Mississippi and other states
Oh, yeah.
is now that you've got the Vanderbilt quarterback rule, the 2 years maybe depending on who you talk to don't count
Yeah.
anymore.
I think
It would create a new
One
opportunity.
of those 2 years back.
It would create a new
Yeah.
opportunity for kids.
I agree.
However, the cost of football is the problem.
Right.
That's why Lambeth doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
Lane College doesn't play anymore. I didn't know Cumberland still played. Did you? I thought Cumberland had done away with football.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
the
they've
Cumberland
had football.
Phoenixes or something. like that.
Cumberland
Yeah,
Phoenix.
that's right, yeah.
But even go
The
look
what?
at them. Cumberland, it was full of transfers. And
Cumberland
Two.
and Lebanon?
yeah, it's got
Yeah.
called the Phoenix now. Not
The
the they used to be the
Phoenix.
That
Bulldogs.
big Phoenix College, I think, has
Yeah.
some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
I didn't
guys,
know they weren't the
But
Bulldogs.
you didn't see that either. You didn't
I've got a
see.
niece that plays volleyball for them, and I thought they were still the Bulldogs. I didn't know.
no
they were Phoenix.
Bulldogs.
But
The
looking at the
Bulldogs have
Austin
been
Peas and the
kicked
UT Martins, when you go to look at their recruiting thing, they're only showing 10, 12 kids.
I know it.
All these smaller schools, and they were all transfers. So it looks like they've got room to do things. Like MTSU's full, Tennessee's full, but Tennessee Tech didn't look full. Neither did UT Martin. Austin P only had 9
Now I'm what?
transfers, but no local recruits, meaning high school kids. Now,
Yeah.
maybe they're going to fill
You
it in
look at
towards the end.
Alabama's full of small colleges. Georgia is full of small colleges. I wonder if all the talent in those states are just filling those up,
It could be, yes.
and their feeder programs
Definitely helps
going
them.
on up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, used to Hutchinson Junior College out in Kansas
Yeah,
is probably
boy.
as good as
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
They put some pro players come through there.
Yep, sure enough. Well, guys, let's shift gears now. Let's take a break, and we're going to come back and talk a little college ball. We've got to talk about Tennessee most definitely, and the SEC and what's going on. Let's take a little break here if I can get this to pull up. We'll be right back after we hear from our sponsors.
Incade Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street.
All righty, welcome back into Bedford County Sports Talk Live. We're going to shift gears, but before we do, Kenny.
Yes, today when we finish this show, I think I said something to you earlier. I just had a beef killed. So I've got to go get a beef killed. When I get home, I got 2 freezers that I'm going to put the beef in. And you know where I got both of those at?
Kincaid,
Service.
Company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
you didn't have to haul the freezer into your house either, did you? They brought it to you, didn't
they
they?
brought them.
That's right.
Put them both right there. But
That's
yeah,
right.
The hauling away is the hard part.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
But both of the freezers, that is where it come from.
Yeah, speaking of hauling away, let's just say you buy a new TV from Kincaid.
Mhm.
If you went to Walmart, no offense, but if you went to Walmart, you got to do something with your old TV. What do you do with those things?
Sorry
these
about
days?
your luck.
What legitimately? I'm asking a question. Where can you get rid of a TV? At
Let me
the convenience centers?
No,
Do they
let
take
me tell you, I
electronics?
drive a school bus.
Yeah.
Go to the side road.
Oh, Kenny.
I'm telling you.
Kenny. That's not good advice.
I know it's not, but that's what a
But
lot
legitimately,
of
if
people
you had to get rid of a television,
I think
will the electronics?
they
do they
have-
take electronics?
they do.
Yeah,
I
they
think that-
do in our convenience
center.
centers. They have a bin
you can't
for
haul
all
them
of
up.
that.
Or
Yeah,
you sell.
you can put them in.
That's
But I will
Fun.
say these other stores too, if they bring it to you and haul stuff, and if they will take it, guess what they do? They charge you.
Yeah.
And yeah, they charge you, and then they go and sell it and put it in. But used to,
Or take it down your roads.
or take it down there.
Sit down in Murphy's house.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk a little college basketball.
Let's start off with Tennessee and Florida, guys. Tennessee was down to
Hey,
seven
What
players.
was our word here last week? They ain't got
Ain't got a chance.
You
7
don't
players.
ever know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what? They only need 5.
Well, we were worried when Ziegler was out and we left here.
Yeah.
We didn't know Milicic was out too. Their next best player.
I mean, the Todd Bobo line had flipped like 10 points.
Absolutely.
So that's what I've said. You just don't know these. We talked about it a little bit last week. So much parity, and even
Did that give
you just
the
don't
Vol
ever
Nation hope going into
Sure
the tournament?
did.
Where we were talking that they
Sure
always
did.
fade. They always
Yeah.
fade. Now they're not fading this year,
No.
are they?
Well,
No,
they didn't
we're
fade.
not close
They
enough
didn't
yet.
fade
I
Saturday.
think we always have a chance at home. SEC at
Yeah.
home, you always have a chance. I
Always
don't care
got
who
a
you
chance
are.
to know. That's right.
But missing your two of your 3 best
Yeah.
players,
But
and,
you know
and
what
only
that-
having 7.
But you know what that told those 2 best players?
You can be
Hey,
replaced.
you can be replaced.
Well, let's talk about their
Exactly.
lineup now. How many do they have on the roster that's
9.
active now? 9.
9, that's it. Now, everybody else in the SEC's got 14, 12, 15.
Is that
We
going to
have
hurt
9.
them? Is that
It
going
did-
to hurt them?
It
down
did
the road?
Saturday.
Sure, it's
It
going to
did
hurt.
last
Yeah, but I'm
Saturday.
talking about when you get in these tournaments back
It's
to
maybe
back.
it seems
Hey,
why
man,
you've
I'm
seen
telling you.
it's foul trouble you get into where you don't have any
Yeah,
depth.
I
that-
think it
Foul
could
out
in
a
the
couple.
SEC tournament where you're playing back.
Yes, that could.
Yeah.
And then in the big tournament, maybe not because you do get some breaks.
Yeah, you do get a few
But this
breaks.
in
You play,
SEC
you play a
tournament.
game, set a
Hey,
game.
Yeah.
I remember
play another
down.
game, get about
Y'all
3
remember the
off.
game down where Mississippi State won the SEC tournament in Atlanta, and they had a tornado the night before,
Yeah.
and they canceled the game, so they had to play twice. They had to play the semifinal and the final game
Same day.
on the same day, and they won it.
Yeah. I
That's
remember
when Barry
that.
Stewart was down there.
I'm just saying,
But
odds
wild.
are it doesn't happen a whole lot. But with these kids, don't count them out.
they can run. They can
Don't
play.
count
Well,
them out.
Tennessee shoots it pretty good. They're a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They came
Don't
back
count 'em
Tuesday
out.
night and had a huge win over number 15 Missouri, 85-81, and shot it as good as they've shot it all
And
year.
you know what?
I'd like to give that game away. They were up 14
And they can go today and not do anything.
and shoot 20%.
And then go. I was listening to the radio this morning coming in. High school team won the state last year. Played a game Tuesday night and only scored 22 points.
Wow.
And then the next night they scored. They go in at halftime and the coach says, "Hey, guys, we're playing great. We've already scored more points this first half. We did the whole game last week."
Yeah.
So
Well,
you just
guys,
don't never know.
Let's just talk about this for a second. Basketball's changed over the last 15, 20 years. I know that I asked the question last week, can a certain team play with their back to the goal? Okay. Now it seems like everything is a three-pointer or a dunk, or there's nothing else in between. There's none of that 15.
The mid-range game is
Bill
done.
was
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Bill was talking to me about that before the game, where the Tennessee girls beat UConn this last week. What was it you was telling
Throwing
me?
up
They just
threes,
throw it up.
just
I mean,
throwing up
5
threes.
seconds into the clock, throw it up. And these weren't good shots at times. I know they won the game.
She says
But
the more
we're
you shoot,
literally
the more you
just-
might make.
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
uh-huh.
And she's
The
done a
head
phenomenal
coach,
job.
yeah,
But we're
that's
just
the
blowing
basically,
stuff up.
Basically, I don't know exactly how she worded it, but the more shots we
She
take, the more
wanted to
opportunities
shoot
we have.
20 or 30 more times than they did.
I've
The
always
more
said,
opportunity the other team has for rebounds.
and I've always said, if you don't shoot, you
Can't
ain't
score.
got a
Well,
chance.
That's true.
And she
But
pressed the whole time, and it was like watching a hockey game.
Oh, it was all.
Constantly rotating 5 players at a time, 5 in, 5 out. You're not playing well. All 5 of you off.
I love it. I
I
love
mean,
it.
the pace, she wears you down.
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't like a hockey. It was a whole.
Whole team
Everyone.
gets swapped
Shift.
out. And it would not happen in 2 minutes, 3
Play
minutes,
hard
or a
for
minute
3
because
minutes,
she's
we'll
just
get
not
you
happy.
out.
You know
Yeah.
what that says, though? These 5 are playing good together.
Yeah.
These 5 play
that's
together.
some depth.
If I just put one in, now I mess up that
And you learn to
chemistry.
play with those 5.
You
You,
learn to
said you
play
got
with those
chemistry.
5.
Yeah,
Well, she's
I
got
like
about 15. Now let's go back to Coach Barnes. If he wanted to do it, you got 9.
it. Right.
You couldn't do it
Yeah,
if
you
you wanted
can't
to
do
do
it.
it because you
No,
don't have the
no.
bodies.
You know what he's got to do? He's got to distribute some more of his NIL money to other people.
But
Do
you had some
think,
injuries
though,
and some
Yeah.
other things caused part of this.
do you think though that this type of play has filtered into the high school game, and then even the junior high game, to
No.
where
Yes, I do.
these kids see it?
I see
You
6'6"
can't-
kids
you
playing at the 3-point line instead of down in the
Well,
block. I see it. I see it across
you
the
see
board. around here.
that part of it all the time, but the substituting.
No,
No,
I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about
about the game of
style
shooting
play.
threes and the style of
Oh,
play.
it's
It's
definitely-
changed.
definitely
most
trickled down.
definitely.
It's changed.
Okay,
Definitely.
have the
it's-
coaches followed the kids, or
No.
the coaches directed the kids
when
that
I
way?
coached with Rob Gardner and I coached middle school, elementary basketball one year at Cascade, and we had a young man, not going to call any names, couldn't nobody stop him inside. He was for real. But you know what he wanted to do? He wanted to shoot a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted to do. That's all he wanted to do is you want to shoot the 3-pointer. We just finally told him, hey, this game, you can't shoot 3-pointer. We're gonna feed you the ball inside. He had 20-something, almost 30 points.
Yeah.
So we thought, hey, he's learned his lesson. I want to be down inside where I can get it and score. You know what? Next game,
shot.
not the next game, he's wanting to shoot threes.
Of course.
He's wanting to shoot threes, and that's what. Where do they get all that
Well, the
stuff?
NBA game.
They don't
NBA.
get it from college.
Exactly.
They get it
NBA
from
game is turned
NBA.
into 3-point.
But it's
And I think if you want to talk about what's ruining basketball, go to the NBA.
Exactly.
That's
Filtering down.
where because the NBA plays no zone. It all has to be man to man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if they're in man to man and those guys even get for a second where it looks like they're in a zone, boom.
I know.
There's
Illegal
a-
defense.
That's it.
and I think
that's where
I
it's
think a
coming down
zone,
to.
watching a zone effectively played is a thing of beauty.
Oh, I agree.
I do too.
100.
I mean, watching a 2-3 zone
Yeah.
or a boxing one.
And everything
Or
offensively is
1-3-1.
4 out and 1 in.
Yeah.
At most. Sometimes it's 5 out and 0
Yeah.
in.
And I used to say, and my dad got me this way. We didn't watch pro basketball. We wanted to see real basketball.
College.
We watched college
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
And
All
it's
right.
changing.
Now, you wanted to see it. The men's game in college got so bad that if you wanted to see real basketball,
school.
you watched the women.
Yeah.
Oh, the women.
The women's
You
still
watch
more
the
pure.
women.
It
Yeah.
is.
It
Now,
is.
the women's game is slowly going
Yep.
to the NBA style.
Yep.
And that won't never. The other part of it won't filter down to high school.
Before long, guys.
But
We'll
you've
have
got
make it take it in the NBA. Like
you've
they
got-
play at the
yeah.
playground. Because
You've
that's
got-
where it's headed.
You've got good high school coaches,
Yeah.
though. That coach that you asked last week, why is this always this way? And this, you got coaches that still teach the fundamentals of the game,
Yeah.
and play defense.
I can go back to 2007 when Sheffield Central went to the state. I watched that team all year, and after about 10 minutes of watching them, you could figure out what everybody's role was in that starting lineup. You had DeMarco as a point guard, you had Barry at number 3, and you had DeQuan Twillett at number 2. You had Robbie Rowland and Chandler Gross, and then sometimes Matt Johnson would come in. They all had roles. There was 2 of them that were 3-point shooters, and the others did not shoot a 3.
Let me ask you this: Did the kids buy into the role?
Absolutely, they
All
did.
right. If they don't buy into it, you ain't got it.
You ain't got the right kid.
And
If they don't buy into it, they're not coachable. All
there
right.
you go.
And
that
hey,
might
going back
be-
to this-
that might be some of what you've been talking about.
Going back to these new rules, am I the only one that thinks the Euro step is a walk?
It is a
It is
step.
a walk.
Oh, God.
Absolutely, it's a walk.
Hey,
What is a
NBA,
Euro
every
step?
Time, every time they
It's
take
an
a
extra
layup,
step. Yeah.
they're taking 3 steps. I
Yeah.
don't care
Every
how
time.
you
And
can count
I'm-
it,
and
slow
I'm-
it
That's a
down.
walk.
Hey, and it kills the older. When I go to a game, I don't go sit with my buddies a lot of time. I go sit with my older friends,
Yeah.
and because they play, and it just kills them
Yeah, it
the
bothers
way
me.
the kids dribble the ball.
Oh.
Well, they're carrying the ball. They can't dribble without carrying the ball.
If you look at a bounce pass coming to an NBA player, and he'll dribble it twice and stop, and then start back, and that's not double dribble anymore.
Notice the
They're
3
definitely
second.
trying to
When's the
make it
last
an
time you saw them
offensive
call a
game.
3-second rule in the paint?
yeah.
In high school, I see a whole lot.
Purdue did that the whole season. That guy would lay in there 10, 15, 20.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah,
sit there.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think they're looking for it to
They're
call
not-
it
they're
because
not
no
looking for
one's
it.
doing it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
the referees have even changed what they're looking for based on the style of play.
Right.
So that's how Purdue probably got away with camping out in the lane because
Yeah.
no one else did it.
Right.
Do y'all think that if a high school coach just took and built a team old school like that, slowed it down a little bit, worked the ball in, quit just taking a 3 occasionally, do you think the other teams would pack it in and try to stop it, or do you think that they would be successful if they had the right talent?
What I
there
heard on
in-
the
in
radio, if
body?
you want to watch that kind of ball, go to Williamson County and watch that district because all
Really?
they talk about is playing defense,
Mhm.
and they feel like if they can score 12 points in a quarter, they got a chance. If they can get to 50 points, they feel like they can win most of their games, and that's the way. That's the way.
Go up and watch my friend
play.
Barry Workman at Blackman and watch the way he plays. That's why he wins that region every
I
year.
think in high school it would still
How's
work
he
because
playing?
you don't have the
Good.
shot
They're
clock.
17 and 4.
Right, I know.
I mean, obviously in college
he plays
you
that
have
way.
Shot clock.
Right. Well, the
High
thing
school, I think it still works.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's the way it's shifted. But the kids see it, and it's hard to change what they see and what they've pictured in their mind basketball to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder how many kids are up at the rec center playing ball this morning that all they're doing is throwing threes up. They're shooting that 3-point shot just to see if they can hit it. I mean, used to you'd practice a layup.
Yeah.
The guy at Alabama, what's his name? The head coach down there, Nate. Oates. He was talking about why you shoot the three, and if you shoot enough of them, it's more valuable. But the other thing he neglected to tell you, watch Alabama. Yeah, they shoot threes, but they've got something Tennessee doesn't have. It's people that slash and attack the basket. Yeah, they're shooting their threes, but they'll also attack the basket.
Yeah.
And that's a different. Bruce Pearl at Auburn does the same thing with those 6 foot, 6'8", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" slashers.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we were going to talk about the big trade in the NBA. I don't watch the NBA, but I hear this stuff.
But it's the biggest trade ever.
I know.
I mean, there was never been an in-season trade bigger than this.
Yeah.
So what's the implications of that?
Well,
I don't know.
Luka Doncic is a 25-year-old player.
He's 6 years younger
than Anthony
Davis.
And Anthony Davis, to me, stays hurt all the time. So he never plays all the season.
I think it's a good trade for the Lakers, I think.
And it just seems like the Lakers always get stuff handed to them.
With what I heard, Lakers got the better end of the deal.
Lakers did.
Because like you say, Lakers always go. Now, here's the deal. I don't know. I don't watch it enough. Don't know anything about it. What's LeBron James going to have? What's his view of it when you bring in this other? Is the he?
Oh, I think LeBron signed off on it.
I think he signed off on it. He signed off on it.
Yeah. He knows his days.
But Dalton Connect got traded in this deal too,
right.
where they went to Charlotte, had to get a center and a 7-foot kid that played at Duke, who was a first-round pick, who's a pretty good-looking player, Williamson.
So now connects with Grant Williams.
Right.
They're together.
Grant Williams is out for the year. I think he's hurt.
He is. Yeah.
But she went to Charlotte, who's terrible. I think they've won 10 or 12
He gets
games.
more playing time, but he's on not a very good team.
It's a huge trade, but the implication here for Luka was he loses $120 million because he can't get the max deal. He goes from a state with zero income tax to a state with 14.5%. So absolutely, this was just huge for it's $120+ million. He's out.
The only knock on Luka is he's out of shape a lot. He's a little overweight.
He looks a little
but
bit.
he plays that way. He plays that way and he's good.
That's
and
right.
he's good.
Right.
He makes the finals. He puts up.
I
I saw his scoring average, and it was up there with Wilt Chamberlain for the first 6 years in the league.
Yeah.
Guys,
we're about 30 points a game.
We're about to run out of time. Let's shift now to college, to pro football. We've got the one big game left. We heard about our MVP. We've seen all the awards. We've seen Coach of the Year. We're down to this one last game. I guess the only thing we can do now is pick them. Bill?
Well, a couple of numbers I'm going to bring up that are just interesting. The number 5, that's 5 Super Bowls for the Chiefs since 2020. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
7 game-winning drives by Patrick Mahomes this year. 11 playoff wins by Patrick Mahomes, and he's not even 30 yet. 55 is the number of Eagle players that were not in the league in 2017 when the last Eagles Super Bowl win. That tells you how young the Eagles are. 64% of the teams that score first in the Super Bowl, 8 out of the last 13 times win the game.
That's a good stat.
How many head coaches do the Chiefs and Eagles share, and name them?
How many what now?
Head coaches coach both teams. This is a good one. There's 2 of them.
Well, Andy Reid's definitely
Andy Reid's one of them. Who's
Dick
the other?
Vermeil?
Dick Vermeil. That's it.
Yeah.
Guys, the Eagles have a better roster.
The Eagles do have a better roster.
Eagles are better offensive line, probably defensive line, probably.
Definitely running back.
But the difference is
Definitely
the quarterback
but
and the coach.
There's a big but here, though, isn't there?
If the game's close, I'll take the Chiefs. The only way I can see the Eagles winning is if it's not as close as we think, and I do expect it to be close. Field goal game, guys?
I think it's a field goal game, too.
It's going to be a great game. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Chiefs here.
I'm flying with the Eagles.
All right, I'm with you, Kenny. 2 on 2.
2 on 2. All right.
I'm just hoping.
I actually got hope.
I honestly think you guys both said it. The Eagles have the better roster.
Yep.
The Eagles are physical. Kansas City's defense is good. Philadelphia's defense is as good. And
Now, Kansas City's
I don't-
healthy 100% for this game, and the Eagles, both their centers are a little dinged up. Wonder how that affects them.
I think
yeah.
it's going to come down to the defensive backs of Philadelphia being able to hang on those extended plays that Patrick Mahomes makes coming down the stretch. Can they stick? Can they block out Kelsey on that little move he makes whenever Patrick needs it? Can they stay there and be disciplined enough? Or are they going to run up and try to stop him? And
Is A.J. Brown concentrating on winning a Super Bowl, or is he more worried about getting his catches?
Well, that's obvious.
Or
That's
reading his
obvious.
book.
Reading his book.
Reading his book. You
Book
know what?
first, catch
You
it
know
second.
what?
Yeah.
But the thing about the book you hadn't brought up, the book that he's reading is entitled, the chapter he's on, How Do You Beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
That's it.
He's been studying that for weeks.
If I'm the Chiefs, it does scare me that the Eagles could just get to running on them though, and just keep the ball away from Mahomes. I mean, that's the only worry I have. But I'm still.
But my worry is
still
this:
rolling
the
with
coach doesn't see it that way. He's not going to run.
They need to. He needs to have 35.
Yeah, he
carries.
will run
We'll see.
Barkley.
We'll see.
You're right. He needs to have 30.
He needs to have 35
Barkley
carries.
will have it. We talked about.
I
why
know
he
we
didn't-
talked about it, and I think you should throw him the ball too, because I'd be throwing Barkley screens.
Okay.
What hurts his first read's not there.
All right.
Instead of doing something crazy, your next read is Saquon Barkley.
All right. Who has more catches for the Eagle? Brown or Smith?
Smith.
I agree.
And I'll tell you who's wide open for the Eagles on these reads is that tight end.
Yeah, he is.
In all these plays where he didn't get his first read, at 88 or 86, both those tight ends are out here wide open. You
Yep,
don't see them
they're
for whatever
there.
reason.
But guys, it's going to be fun to watch.
It is.
We'll be back next week. Kenny, you won't be here.
Weather
Well, maybe.
it might be depending on the
Okay,
weather. It's supposed
all right.
to be rain all week.
Well, we'll
Cold,
wrap up.
cold.
We'll wrap up the NFL season and start talking draft next week because that's coming.
Always
I
fun.
heard some good stuff about the Titans this week in the draft too that
Well,
I hadn't heard in a while, and they're thinking about trading.
no, we need to hear something good.
Yes.
Well, guys, it's been fun
Shador
again,
Sanders,
as
I think's
always.
made it clear he don't want to come to Tennessee,
Yeah, I don't.
which is fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine with me. It's been fun, guys.
Yes.
We'll be back same place, same time next week. Thanks for our sponsors. First
Kincaid.
Bank,
Gotta have Kincaid,
Service.
Company.
and First Bank here in Shelbyville.
and you
Thank
can't
guys.
beat First Bank.
No, you can't. They're
I
top
mean,
I
notch.
want to shout out to Josh and Helen. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Scott, Helen.
Scott.
And Helen's picking the Eagles. We're going to leave on that note. Go Eagles. Have a good week.